talked about it. They help make sure that they are delivering cars or trucks or delivering goods to people across the entire region. And without them, people would be lacking in what they need. And so we cannot thank you enough for what you guys do, and proud of your success of having so much business, whether it be through the pandemic or after the pandemic. It demonstrates the need of what people in this region have, that they are depending upon you. But a related component of it, as we're going through supply chain challenges these days, your company is an essential part of helping to respond to that supply chain challenge. I do also want to thank a couple of people and one entity with us here today. I want to thank Representatives Cole Hafner as well as Matt Schaefer for being here, and they do a great job representing East Texas in the Capitol. There are representatives from an organization that represents the types of businesses that gather with us at this table today. And it's the National Federation of Independent Business. Thank you all for your leadership of helping small businesses. I'll make a comment here shortly about small businesses. But I'm proud of what Fleet Services is doing here in Tyler. And among other things, one thing they do is they provide good paying jobs for hardworking men and women. And this hardworking men and women, whether they be in Tyler or around the region, they earn a paycheck. They can use that paycheck to buy a home, to provide for the family, to have their own slice of prosperity. And Preferred On-Site Fleet Services is now part of the Texas economic juggernaut. They are part of these successes I'm about to tell you that Texas has been achieving every single year. Every year that I've been governor, Texas has been ranked the #1 state by CEOs as the best state to do business. Every year that I've been governor, Texas has won the National Championship Award for being ranked #1 of all the states in the United States for economic development. That means more projects are coming here, growing here, hiring employees here, and that leads to more business for all the different businesses around the table. Also, every year that I've been governor, Texas has ranked #1 in the United States for the most amount of exports from our state. And this past May, Texas, for the first time ever, became home to more headquarters of Fortune 500 companies than any other state in the country. Now, a lot of what I just talked about deals with large businesses. Most businesses in Texas are small businesses. More than 90% of businesses are small businesses. And that's where entities like National Federation of Independent Businesses come in, because they support small businesses. But I'm proud to tell you that Texas also ranks #1 in the United States as the best state to start a small business. When you add all this together, it leads to several profound effects. One is that since I was last reelected, Texas has added far more new jobs than any other state in the country. More Texans are earning a paycheck today than ever before in the history of our state.
That was wonderful.
But there's been another byproduct. When we have a thriving economy, the way that it's going now, one result is the state of Texas is sitting on a $27 billion surplus. Now, part of that money will be used to address health care and education and other important matters. But I want to ensure that at least half of that $27 billion is used to provide the biggest property tax cut in the history of the state of Texas.
Thank you.
This is particularly important at this time as we head into the last few stages of this race for governorship. Because my opponent, when he was on city council in El Paso, he raised property taxes 3 times. Texas and Texans do not need anybody even close to the governor's office who has raised taxes. I will ensure that we continue to cut taxes. It was with these 2 state reps and their peers that the state of Texas, we passed a constitutional amendment that bans an income tax in Texas. Wow. That's our attitude about Texas. But I have to add another very important point. It's important to Tyler. It's also important to this region, but prolifically for the entire state of Texas. Texas leads America in oil and gas production. Texas has helped to make America energy independent. We need the oil and gas that's produced, whether it be in the Permian Basin or East Texas. That production is being threatened by my opponent because he's strongly embraced the radical leftist ideology of the Green New Deal that would eliminate the production of oil and gas, and they would go down the pathway of what California is trying to do right now, which is to eliminate the internal combustion engine altogether. And we've seen countries as well as states that have tried to not use fossil fuels anymore, and has led to a disaster, whether it be in European region states or whether it be in California. So we need to ensure that's not going to happen. Beto's solution would decrease oil and gas production. It would increase the price that you pay at the pump, and would also eliminate literally hundreds of thousands of good-paying jobs to the hard-working men and women in the oil and gas fields in the state of Texas. And I am running for re-election to keep those hard-working jobs alive and well in the great state of Texas. So once again, I want to thank Jeff and your fabulous company here for everything that you're doing to do your part to contribute to the economy of Texas, which is the #1 economy in the United States of America.
Amen.
So thank you again.
Thank you
very much.
Appreciate you being here.
Sure. We'll take a few questions. I am making the rounds across the state of Texas to talk to business roundtables like this, where I get to hear firsthand from local business leaders about challenges they face, whether it be supply chain challenges or having a workforce that is inadequately educated to go to work for them immediately. And so we talked about issues like that as well as other issues, so that we will take that information and go back to the next legislative session and specifically address those to make sure that these businesses will be better equipped, whether it be with employees or new policies, so they can continue to succeed. So one was the need for a better skilled, trained workforce to help companies like this, or candidly, any of the employers around here. Two is making sure we do a better job fundamentally at education, at early education, to make sure that our kids are going to be able to read. Another thing that we talked about is making sure that students, when they graduate, whether it be from high school or college, they're going to have real-life skills that they will be able to use, that will be able to apply, as opposed to being left thousands of dollars in debt with no ability to get a job. Listen, we were able to show the differences. We were able to show that Beto supports defunding the police, open border policies, supports this radical ideology of easy bail that lets dangerous, deadly criminals out of jail, and the way that he would destroy our economy by destroying the oil and gas sector in the state of Texas. It's all. First of all, I'm governor 24/7, but also I'm running for re-election, and so I need to point out to Texans what we've accomplished for them by making Texas #1 for business, by having added more jobs than any other state in the country over the past 4 years, and to remind people about the prosperity that we have and the difference of how that could all be destroyed if someone gets into office that would destroy the policies that have made Texas #1 for business. So let's be clear about what we have done. First, in the first 6 days after the tragedy, for 6 successive days, I issued a directive to make sure that our schools would be safer, as well as the emergencies in Uvalde were addressed. In addition to that, I worked with the Texas Education Agency and the Texas School Safety Center to make sure that all schools across the entire state of Texas would be safe when students return to school this past August. Also created a new position at the Texas Education Agency that would respond directly to the governor, called the Chief of School Safety and Security. That person was announced earlier this week. He's a former member of the Secret Service, who brings a high level of skill set to make sure that all schools around the state of Texas will be implementing the safest measures. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Appreciate you being here.